AI anxiety kept me up for months. I couldn't sleep soundly with the feeling that I was falling behind all the time. Every day there's a new AI tool or use case, and I was trying desperately to keep up and stay ahead of the curve. And then in March, I saw a study published by the Harvard Business Review where they named exactly what was happening in my brain. They called it AI brain fry. And after reading the study, I couldn't approach AI the same way anymore. In this video, I'm going to explain how harmful AI anxiety is to our brains, the changes I made after reading the study, and the one question I asked myself before I even consider testing a new AI tool. Let's go. So the Boston Consulting Group, or BCG, partnered with UC Riverside, interviewed 1,488 workers in January of this year. And they published the results in Harvard Business Review on March 5th. And this is a direct excerpt from their study. AI brain fry, mental fatigue from excessive use or oversight of AI tools beyond one's cognitive capacity. The exact terms that the workers in the study used to describe their condition were fog, buzzing, and a feeling of a dozen browser tabs open in their heads. Feelings of mental hangover, headaches, difficulty focusing, and slower decisions. Using more AI caused 39% to have more major errors at work, 33% more decision fatigue, and 39% with a higher intent to quit their job. So it seems like the hardest workers who are trying to leverage AI as much as possible are the ones getting burnt out, and they have intentions of leaving their companies. And here's the counterintuitive thing from the study. It's not that AI is necessarily bad. When workers used AI to replace repetitive tasks, their burnout dropped by 15%. The problem is their oversight of AI, basically them trying to keep up with the new tools and models. And here's a direct quote from one of the workers. He realized that he was working harder to manage the tools than to actually solve the problems. And when I read that line, I realized that I was repeating the same mistake. Since January, I've been subscribed to 6 different AI newsletters, and I was spending about an hour every single day trying to just read through these. I was following all the lead AI engineers at the major AI companies on X, trying to read every single tweet they put out. And I told myself that this was all good. I was doing research, I was keeping up with the industry. But then I realized over time that I was experiencing the same thing as that worker. I was getting burnt out by simply trying to keep up. And it took away energy and time from my actual work, which is solving problems for clients. And then I had a realization, and it was around 2 months ago. It wasn't my job to stay on top of AI industry news. I have different roles and different problems to solve. And it's other people who are trying to solve this problem for me. So instead of subscribing to 6 different newsletters and following all these AI engineers, I cut it down to just one newsletter. And the one newsletter I follow is called The Rundown AI. Now, you can follow whatever you want, but I found that this one was my favorite style of writing, and it was at a good enough cadence that I liked. All of these newsletters cover more or less the same stories. Some of them might have different sponsorships with different tools, but the major news, the one that makes all the headlines, is the same all across. And another thing is, I stopped trying to test all of these tools at the same time. Now, I give myself a hard limit. I'll only test one new AI tool per week. And that might sound arbitrary, right? But the reason why I chose one is because if I spend any more time than that, then I fall into this burnout state, and it takes away time from things that are more important in life. And I'm not gonna lie, it's hard because every day there's a new hot tool. So it takes discipline to stay on top of this hard limit schedule. And now the one question I ask before I even consider testing a tool is, can this new AI tool actually move my project forward? I work in coding, so if there's a new hot photography tool, then why do I have to look at that? I'm not a pro photographer. That being said, I do understand that there's cross-industry and cross-role tools. So if I see something that I think might help me later down the line, I park it in a document and maybe I'll test it next week. But I won't stress about trying it now. Because we're always tempted to chase the next shiny object, to stay on top of the hot news. But if it doesn't move the needle, then what is the point at all? So as a developer, I have a lot of developer friends, right? A lot of them are obsessed with optimizing their entire lives around AI. They'll spend 4 to 5 hours every day trying new tools, keeping up with the news, talking with each other about their OpenClaw setups and the new model that they tried, When if I look at how they're spending their time, if they actually spent that time marketing or shipping out a new feature, that's probably way more productive than having those conversations with each other. So over the last few weeks, after I made these changes, cutting down to just one newsletter, only testing one new AI tool per week, I realized that I sleep a lot better. And by me sleeping better, I'm able to wake up and perform at a much higher level than stressing and trying to keep up and not being at 100%. And that's the thing. It's not going to be the person who's on top of all the new AI tools who's going to win in this game. It's going to be the person who's the most consistent with doing the real work, which is shipping out features and publishing content. So what about you? Do you experience AI anxiety? And how do you deal with it? Let me know in the comment section below. If this video resonated with you, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. As always, see you in the next one.
I love you. Bye-bye.